Hey, good evening, you guys. It's Ann again, and I just thought I would come live tonight before I make a couple things for our dinner. So I was rooting around in the freezer and I found a couple things, and I thought I would put them together for dinner and just give you some ideas as I'm doing it. I don't know if you guys have found some things in your freezer too, but the first thing I found was this less than a half a bag of mini meatballs, party-sized mini meatballs. So that made me think about what I could do with those, and the ads that the Casey's store ran a couple months ago about meatball pepperoni pizza or something. So I'll show you on what I'm going to do with those for a pizza in a minute. But then I also found a bag of peaches, and so I thought, oh my gosh, peach crisp or peach cobbler or something for dessert would be really fun. So I am going to use my 10-inch cast iron skillet again that I have fallen in love with, and I am going to literally open up this bag of peaches that I found, and I'm going to dump them in the bottom of the skillet. And I probably should get, let's see, I don't know, a spatula or something. Let's see, I'll just use a spoon here out of my drawer and kind of flatten them around in the bottom of my skillet. And I'm just gonna make a quick peach crisp. And I am making it out of Pioneer Woman's cookbook because I think she has some really fun kind of classic recipes. So it's called Peach Crisp with Maple Cream Sauce. So I don't know, I thought we might as well make the maple sauce too because I have everything, but it's probably gonna be really good with ice cream, but we'll see. So I was just gonna show you something though. You need a small saucepan for the maple sauce, and so you need heavy whipping cream. So I poured heavy whipping cream. I measured it in one of our Easy Read measuring cups. And you guys, I love these because the measurements are on the side and it just saves you so much time. So here's the baby one, and I don't know if I can get it close enough. Can you see that there's measurements on there? Yeah, I think you guys can see it. So the other two ingredients that go in this maple cream sauce is pure maple syrup, which I had a little bit left, and then regular light Karo corn syrup. And so I'm gonna take my maple syrup, and I don't know if you guys can see down here, maybe I've got a few other tools in the road, but you don't have to lift up these cups to see the measurement. That's the part I love about it. So I am gonna pour in, I need 2.5 tablespoons of the maple syrup. I'm literally just pouring it in until it hits the 2.5 tablespoon mark. And then I need 1.5 tablespoons of regular Karo syrup. And so you guys, the same thing. I can just stack this right on top until it gets to 4 tablespoons because that will be the right amount. So I did all the measuring in one container and then literally dump it into the heavy cream. And then I'm going to go and put this on top of the stove, and you cook it low for about 20 minutes, it says. And then the cream sauce does need to be done first because you, oh, by the way, these all nest and stack and they come in more sizes in case somebody needs that. But you cook this cream sauce and then you cool it for at least an hour before you serve it over the crisp. So I'm gonna put that on top of my stove, so I will be right back. And while that's cooking, I'm back to finish the rest of the peach crisp. This recipe calls for about a teaspoon of lemon zest over top of the peaches. And so I have a microplane zester. This is fabulous when you only need a small amount. So literally you can just pull it over your fruit. And I think you guys can see this. See how fast it's zesting? You only need a teaspoon, that's not very much. So that's probably plenty. So I will just dump it around a couple different areas. And then it needs some lemon juice off of a lemon also. So I'm gonna just cut this lemon, and then instead of running it through a big juicer, I'm just gonna use our hand citrus press, which if you guys happen to have been watching any of our other lives, we've used this a lot recently to juice lemons and limes and even grapefruit, having some fun with some happy hour type things. But just put the lemon or lime or a chunk of orange or grapefruit or whatever, put it cut side down, because see, then when you squeeze, and I'm just gonna let this drop over the peaches, then all the juice goes right through. So I've just added the lemon juice and the lemon zest to the peaches, and I'm just gonna let that set for a couple minutes. because then the topping mixture, which I have it started right here, this is just flour, white sugar, brown sugar, and cinnamon that you cut a stick of cold butter into. And the other day I showed you guys, if your butter's really hard and you're not really comfortable using a pastry blender or 2 forks, that it's great to run your stick of butter over this, because it basically shreds it for you when it's really cold, and it makes it really quick to stir into that crumb mixture. So that's what I'll do to add my stick of butter to that. And then that crumb mixture gets patted over the top of the peaches, and you put this in the oven and you cover it for the first 15 minutes. I'm not really sure why. I'm actually gonna kind of test that, because then you uncover it for the last 15 to 20 minutes. And I kind of want my top to be kind of crispy brown. So I don't know about that covering part. I'm not sure that that's really necessary. And then you'll just scoop up the warm peach crisp to serve with that maple syrup cream. So that'll be really kind of fun. And oh, hi Kathy, she likes that. That's a great cold butter hack. Yeah, the vegetable stripper makes a great cold butter hack, that's for sure. So that's what I'm doing for dessert. But the other thing that I found in the freezer was back to that package of meatballs. And so I decided that we were gonna make our own pizza. So I've done a couple things already. As you can see, I have our large pizza stone. This is my favorite to do pizzas on. And I did a pouch of our pizza crust that I put Italian seasoning and garlic right into the powdered dough and mix that up to make your pizza dough. And then I'm gonna top it with a variety of things, but I just wanted to show you something else. I rolled 1/2 of it extra up onto the sides, because we're gonna do stuffed crust on half of the pizza. So I'm just tucking a piece of cheese, and I'll tuck these in and then I'll lift it up and try to show you guys. But I didn't want to do stuffed crust on the whole pizza. We just wanted to do it on part of the pizza. So let's see, I think that's pretty close. We'll give that one a little extra. So I'm just laying the pieces of cheese around, and then since I rolled extra dough up here, I've got some room to play. So I'm gonna just tuck that back around the cheese and push it back to the edge of my baking stone. So I'm gonna do that for the stuffed crust side. And then I will actually put this in the oven at 450 degrees for about 4 to 5 minutes. I like to pre-cook my crust a little bit because our house likes crispy pizza crust, and I found that that helps. But one other thing I have found that helps to do that is I did spritz a little bit of oil on my stone, and then I sprinkled a little cornmeal. So I did all that before I rolled out the dough, and so you can actually see over here a little bit of yellow of the cornmeal, because I was not a perfect roller, obviously. But again, just tuck your crusted cheese into the crust and push the crust back to the edge. That's what's nice about the large round white stone, is it does have that edge to work with. And then, like I said, I will put it in the oven for about 4 or 5 minutes before I top it. And I do make sure I work with the dough at room temperature, because it's so much easier to roll. And I do use the small pizza dough roller it's called a baker's roller in our line, but it just allows you to go right up to the edges with things. So if you haven't worked much with this, it just makes that job really a lot easier. So that will go in the oven for about 4 to 5 minutes before I do the rest of the pizza. But I don't want to keep you guys on that long, but instead I want to show you just 2 other things we're going to do. I think I'm going to put a little bit of onion on our pizza, but I really like really thin onion when I do my pizza. And Wanda's wondering what the cornmeal does. Wanda, it helps give you the crispy bottom, but only if you've put a little bit of oil with it so that it really sticks to the dough. Otherwise, it just kind of acts like a buffer, like flour. So I used the oil spritzer, spritzed really lightly, then I sprinkled the cornmeal on so it sticks to the oil before I rolled out the dough. So hopefully that helps you. And it just makes it a little bit easier. But back to the onion, I want really thin onion. I don't want a big old chunk of onion on my pizza. And so I call this kind of the slicer anybody can run, because it's a simple slicer. It lets you do paper thin slices or up to quite a bit thicker, like that you would want to do if you were doing like homemade fried potatoes or something like that. And it has a rail so that you will protect yourself. And if you don't think you're going to use the rail, then I don't want you ever to buy this slicer because it is razor blade sharp. Okay, so you put the protector on the rails so it sticks right on there. And then I'm just going to put this whole onion. I'm going to use very little of it, but I cleaned it, so I'll use a little bit here, and then I'll put it in a container and put it in my refrigerator for the next recipe. But put your onion right in the holder, and then this is the runner. Put the runner right over the top, and then hopefully you guys will be able to see this. I'm just going to do a few very thin onions. Can you see them sliding out of the bottom? And then I'll pull these up so you guys can see. Super thin onions so I can put the pieces around on my pizza because that's the way I like onions on my pizza. I don't want a big old chunk. So that's just another quick tip for you to use. And then the last tip was back to these frozen meatballs that I found. I've showed this many times when I've been cooking, but this close and cut is how I split cherry tomatoes, chicken breasts, pork chops, anything I want to cut in half. So I thought today when I found this package of meatballs, even though they say they're mini party size, that's a pretty big meatball to put on a pizza. So I thought, well, I'm going to fill the close and cut and see if I can half them. So I haven't practiced this, I have no idea, so I'm doing it right in front of you guys. So you fill it, it has a spring, so you can shut the lid right on it. So you could shut your chicken breast inside of there and split it if you've gotten something that's really fat or something like that. And then you do need a really long knife because it has to be able to fit all the way across this to split anything that you're working with. So I'm going to cut this direction so you guys can hopefully see it. So literally you shut the lid. So when you shut the lid, you can't even see that those meatballs are in there. Okay, does that make sense? Throw this in the dishwasher, by the way, whenever you're done, because especially if you're working with something like chicken breasts or raw meat like that. So, but I have the meatballs. So I'm going to shut the lid, but I want to put my knife right on the edge. And then I'm going to just cut all the way through to the back. And you will know when you're to the back because you'll hit this hinge. And then I'm going to open it up. And sure enough, so it halved, whoops, it halved the meatballs for me. So that will look a lot better on my pizza than a big meatball. And I'll probably root around in the refrigerator and see what else I have if we have some mushrooms and peppers and some other things to put on the pizza. But that is what I found in the freezer, so I thought that would be, you know, easy and fun to do tonight. So I think that's it. That's what I was going to show you. I'll post the photos after it comes out of the oven so you guys can see what this peach crisp with maple cream sauce looks like and if the recipe's a keeper or not. And then the pizza, you know, it's just kind of out of your head. But next time you make pizza dough, put garlic and put Italian seasoning right in the dough. I think you'll be very surprised at the difference. And then if you use a pizza stone or a baking stone when you guys make pizza, I think you'll be really pleasantly surprised if you spritz a little oil on the bottom and cornmeal it before you roll out the dough. So good luck with your cooking for dinner tonight. I would love for you to post what you're making or what you found in your freezer and you don't know what to do with it. Maybe we can give you all some ideas. So thanks, you guys. Have a great Tuesday, and I'll try to pop on and answer everybody's questions too. Thanks. See ya.